Alright folks, so we have a document, it's blank, it's our sample file here. Before we get to editing anything on it, what we actually should do is create a frame. Now, if I click frame here, there are many different kind of stock frames that we can use. If we say wanted to use an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, we could use A4. And what you'll notice when we open this up, two things. One, over here on the left under layers, we can see that A4 frame. And then on the right hand side, our context menu is just like blown up into a bunch of stuff. So one, we can see where the frame is on the coordinate grid. If you wanted to change that to 0, 0, you can change that in your XY. The other big thing to note is you'll see for width and H, the height, that we have these very large numbers. So they're not like 8.5 by 11 inches, right? We're actually working in pixels. And just a brief on that, anytime you want to make like a measured dimension in Figma, you want to make something that's a certain size, you're going to have to use a converter for that. That's just the unfortunate reality of working with Figma currently. It only works in pixels, and inches may come eventually, but this program's made for web design. It's not for creating a user interface. It's not for creating physical things, but we can do that. I have a little bookmark up here. If you look up pixel calculator, you'll notice that it has some stuff on the end of the URL. That's just this 72 DPI. It saved that from last time. All you need to know is Figma works in 72 DPI. If we know the DPI, and you can look that up on Wikipedia if you want, we can actually begin to calculate how many pixels equals a certain amount of inches. So if I say I wanted to make a frame that was 3 by 3, I can hit calculate, and then I know it's 216 pixels by 216. So I can copy that, bring it on back, and paste it into width and height. Now, once I have this, I can rename this layer, because it's no longer an A4, and I can say 3 by 3 square. I can enter that in. If I wanted to say lock that so I can't edit it anymore, I can't move it, I could do that. And the next thing I want to show you is how to utilize shapes. So you can just click this drop down here. You'll see there's also some shortcuts right here, and if you want to make a rectangle, you can drag that on in. Now once you have it in here, you can drag it around. You can also place it via coordinates. You can also tell it how big you want it to be. There's a lot of different stuff you can do with it. So once we have that, you can also transform it. You can make it a rectangle, whatever you want. You can do this with a bunch of different shapes. The ellipse tool is naturally going to be an ellipse, but if you hold shift, it'll be a circle. You actually have to continue to hold shift until you let go. So there you go, a circle. What we can also do is if we click and you hold option, it'll actually create the circle or the shape from where you started. So the center point of the object will be where you clicked in the first time. There are many other different shapes we can play around with. There's polygons, there's a lot of different stuff. We're just gonna kind of leave that where it's at. You can play with it, you can place images if you want to, but just know you can make a ton of different shapes. Once you've made these shapes, you can then start to actually like change the fill color of them. So whether it's red, or you can also change the stroke color, so that's the outline. So depending upon what you're doing, you can start messing around with the colors of things if you want to just play. I'm going to delete this stuff, and the next tool I want to show you is the pen tool. So this is a tool that can take a pretty long time to master, but it's not too difficult if you just kind of commit to practicing a little bit. Pen tool works like any old line in geometry. You have point A and you have point B, and there's a line between. The trick with the line tool is you can actually have a point. So if I hit escape just to get out of this, I can click, and then I can click and drag, and I get these anchors, these points, one of which is connected to my pen tool icon there. Now I can continue to click and drag. Now I get more anchors, and I can create kind of some funky shapes. What you need to know about the pen tool is if you go back to your starting point, you'll notice your cursor gets that little black dot. that means you're creating a closed shape. So now if I hit done, I have a custom closed shape. Now this is a little funky up here. I don't like this line there, so let's delete that. But if I click on my object and I go to stroke, I can actually start to make it a specific color. So you can make your own custom objects. If you double click back in there, you can also click on your anchors and begin to edit them if you need to make them a little bit different and to fit a design that you like. But that is the pen tool. It has a ton of power under the hood. If we delete that, the last tool that I want to show you right now is the pencil tool. It's really not a great tool. It's just like if you kind of want to play around, you can kind of drag your cursor around and draw some stuff. So this is the pen tool, or the pencil tool, excuse me. It's nothing special, but it's just a nice weird tool. Once you kind of get your weird scribbly old design in there, it'll actually start to smooth stuff out for you, which is quite nice. So undo that, and those are your basic shape tools. So I showed you frames, I showed you how to get some basic shape tools in here, how to hold shift and option to do some stuff, and then your pen tool, which will be your best friend depending upon what you're doing in Figma. That's it, and next we'll talk about text and how to add shapes together.